Right. We should be away to go now. Okay. So well, the topic we're going to begin with then, if you'll oblige me, is that we are in a panpsychism. You could even say a simulation, because it all amounts to the same thing, that has been created and it's contained. And the intelligence that we have, which makes this possible, we call consciousness. And I'm saying, like I say in my book, that consciousness and God are indistinguishable. And
Mm.
I've got lots of ways in which to say that. And so you can start wherever you want to. You saw my video today, the one where I'm saying we are God. My logic is irrefutable. So
Yes.
the way.
Okay, so the first question is, what is consciousness?
Exactly.
And the second question would be like, what is God?
Yes.
Because both terms are used in different ways and with different meanings, of course.
Yeah.
It's not so simple. It's not simple. Really not. You said you want to keep things simple.
Well, because it isn't simple, and so I mean, we're already entering into a paradox because, of course, it's exceedingly complex. But what I want
Yes.
to do is, I want to try to eliminate all of the silly woo-woo and God's up there and that's it, and that's what I believe and that's true. I want to speak with intelligent, rational people that can have a look at this. And I'd love to speak with these biblical scholars because every time I've listened to them, I swear they don't have a leg to stand on if you start speaking rationally and intelligently, because all they've got is their dogma, and they just say that's the way it is, because it's God's word. Well, that doesn't work with me. It's not good enough for me.
It doesn't make sense because you are discussing with them about the Bible.
Yeah.
You are not discussing the truth. You are not discussing spirituality. You're just discussing a book, a translation, meaning of words, sentences.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. There are people that are discussing about what is in this book because they have different understandings, translations. So it's not about spirituality, it's theology.
Hmm.
And theology is a completely different thing.
Yes.
You can study theology your whole life and you know nothing about God necessarily,
Yeah.
nothing at all.
Yes. So that's a very good point because I think that's what all of these theologists are doing. They don't know God. They evidently don't know God, because if they did know God, then they have a whole different rhetoric. But because they're so steeped in the line and verse of those scriptures, then they are solely theologists, and they're not spiritualists, and they don't have a connection to God. That's quite visible. Um,
Yes.
mm,
There's even, I saw a video recently about a guy. He says that he lost his connection to God because he studied theology.
right.
So he had some connection and then he studied, and when he came out, he had lost it during studying, because of studying.
So what
Because
it sounds like, he was brainwashed out of his, depending on his intuition. He had an intuitive connection to God, but then
yes,
by the time he's been brainwashed with all the dogma, his intuition maybe didn't fit with the dogma.
um, yes, yes, also, but it's also a kind of distraction. It's distractive because people are talking about stuff that really doesn't matter.
Hmm.
All the time, they are talking about things they do not understand, that you cannot understand. For example, maybe the best example is the so-called Trinity. And they're arguing about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just go into a forum and write something about Trinity.
Yeah.
Give a statement
Yeah.
like Trinity is a false doctrine. God is one. Then you're giving the typical quotes, and you will have a never-ending discussion.
Yeah.
People will argue and fight. Just it's it's like going on. It's like how do you call it? It's going on and going on, and we will
Infinity.
never stop. It's a never-ending question.
Infinity. Yeah.
Yes, and they do not know what they are talking about, because this is spirituality. It's a spiritual concept. Understanding the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. What is this? How, I mean, what, or people argue about the question, is Jesus God or not? I mean, what does it even mean? This is such a silly discussion for a theologist. It doesn't make sense at all. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you go into the question, who is God, by practicing any kind of practice. There are so many practices, and then you make experiences, and then you make up your mind. Okay, and yet then you go into this topic, but you are still not, it's not easy to answer the question, what is it? I mean, what does it mean? The Son is I mean, this is such a huge topic. The question, who is God and what is
Yeah,
consciousness?
it's circuitous. It just goes round and round and round, and nothing ever comes out of it, and nobody will ever find God in it. So I don't get involved with any of that
Yes.
rubbish. I'm much more metaphysical. I'm much more having a relationship with my intuition, which I consider is the language in which we can speak to higher beings or God. And what I found in my life that via intuition, then we can contact something higher self, or some entity maybe called God or whatever. But we can't do it via faith. Faith is blind. It doesn't give you what intuition does. Intuition tells you something that you feel viscerally, whereas faith doesn't. Faith is just a blind dogmatic belief, and you are only fantasizing, you're only hypnotizing yourself when you keep reiterating faith, 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 belief, belief, belief. It's propaganda, isn't it? The simple basic breakdown of propaganda and hypnosis is repetition, and that's all that religion is premised on: repetition. And it's like the Nazi propagandist Joseph Goebbels said, just keep saying it, and in time it will become truth. And so this is what's happened for small minds who haven't had the wherewithal to protect themselves against hypnosis, propaganda, and dogma. And so they've been programmed, and they'll die defending that now. That also is very, very logical. It's very provable, and it's irrefutable. And so I deal with things like that. I deal with, well, look, let's have a look at propaganda, how that works. Are they not deploying propaganda in the Bible and the Quran? Absolutely. That's all it is. Every other word: believe, 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 and threats to accompany it to terrify everybody. And then they speak about the hell where they're going to go to, and it's, my God, is it any wonder people just give in, all right, I believe in the man in the sky. And then, the church takes over and everyone's under control. All that we can accept very, very readily. So where's the problem in that? Except when we've got people who are subject to it. They can't see it. It's like fish being in water, and like I say, when you ask the fish, how's the water? What water? They've got no idea. They were born into it.
Yes. Okay. I have a slightly more how would I say, more tolerant position against religion. it's like I want to be fair. Yes, I'm a fair guy, and I must have a past that is somehow related to religions of
Mm,
all kinds.
yeah.
I mean, past life stuff,
Right.
or connections to entities somehow that are really, really involved in religion. And I have a heart for these things, a heart. Yes. So I just want to be very fair. And I don't want to say everything is bad. I don't want to say that. I don't feel that, and I think it's not fair. I think the religions, they have good parts, they have true parts, and everything has two sides or even more sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm into that, and I'm feeling that believers are also very important to God, to Yahweh, God. Like, they are also important. God is concerned about them. Uh,
Who? Sorry, who's important?
well, Christians, any believer
Right.
is important to God. I mean, every human being is, of course, important to Him, but Christians are, of course, in a very special way related to Him. Of course, I mean, they have Jesus, they believe in Jesus, and there is this connection between Yahweh and Jesus. There is a connection. It's not that they're just something different. Okay, that there is a truth in it. This is my personal experience. It's not from the Bible, not at all. For me, the Bible is confusing. For me, it hurts and it confuses me. But from my personal experience, it's absolutely 100% sure that Jesus is related to Yahweh. And there must be a deep truth in it. This is very clear. My personal experience that I made after so many hours of practices, meditation, whatever. No one, I do not accept anything that anyone ever told me. I'm just talking out of experience. Otherwise, I wouldn't say this. I wouldn't believe this. I had my whole life, I was like, okay, Jesus is okay, it's interesting. You have to know it, or you should know it. I mean, if you are in mysticism or religion, spirituality, you should know something. I mean, you cannot ignore him. He's everywhere. The Hindus talk about him as well as the Muslims. Everyone talks about Jesus. He's everywhere. Yes, you can't get around him. So that, of course, I was born as evangelical Christian, and I got this confirmation when I was teenager. Yes, but I did not really have this strong connection or belief in him until I made experiences, and these experiences they gave me this connection. They showed me clearly there is truth. There must be truth. It's very clear. Okay, so this is it's so for me it's complex, and the more experience I got, the more I saw how complex all of this is. So I want to give you a very simple, it's simple, but it's very important example. Okay, so you say the kingdom of God is within you, within yourself. So this is introspection. You go into your own self, and there you can find God. And this is so true. It's 100% true. Everyone who is into spirituality and has practice and exercises, he knows that this is true at a certain point. Okay, but on the other way, you say, okay, outside, no, you have to go into your own side. But it took me decades to get the idea, to understand, and to realize that there is also God outside. He's also outside of us, because there is a macrocosm, micro, and there is a microcosm, and they are like identical copies. So everything, hermetics, you know this? There is a very important law that says it's like outside, it's inside.
Yeah.
Inside like outside, or top like bottom. So if you go into your own self, you find the microcosm. But if you go outside, you find the macrocosm. And everything that is in the macrocosm is also in your microcosm.
Well, how do you go into the macrocosm? How do you go into the outside?
Yes, this is so simple. You can pray with your mouth loudly. Just use your mouth, your physical body mouth. Pray loudly. Then you pray in the macrocosm, and your prayers will be heard by macrocosmic entities, and you will get an answer. You will get energy. You will get response. Something will happen. There will be consequences, but from the macrocosm. And if you go inside of your own self, yes, then you pray here, or okay, you could also just pray in your mind or do your exercises, mantras, whatever. Okay, then you go inside, and then you will get your response from the inside. And there is a difference, a huge difference. And you have to make this experience. So it's a huge difference. Let me say okay, Take the word Om. It's a word for God. It's very simple. Sit down, relax, open eyes, and then chant Om. Chant it. 1 hour. Om. Okay, do it for 1 hour constantly. Just maybe be focused on your third eye or crown, whatever. Just be focused devotionally. Yes, do it. Did you ever do it?
Yes.
Like that? Okay. Did you feel the power? Did you feel something was happening?
I felt drunk.
Okay, that's cool.
In a high state of bliss, tranquility, satiation, euphoric. Yeah, felt all those things together.
Okay, so there was an impact that was
Yeah,
clearly.
there was a result to that, and very quickly you get into it when your body is resonating with that vibration. It has a hypnotic effect and a soothing effect, calming effect, and it takes you to a place. And so I don't have a problem with that being the sound of the cosmos, 7.8 hertz Schumann, on the sound of God. Yeah.
Yes, so this is from the macrocosm. Now close your eyes, focus on your third eye, and recite Om inside of your mind. It's a different thing. Do it for 1 hour. You will get a response. You will have an effect, but a different effect, because this is from your inner self response. Because Om is outside and it's inside. And this is something that is very, very hard to understand. It's like, so you say God is outside and he's inside of you. But there is just one God outside, but every human being has its own God inside of himself, which is an identical copy, microcosmic copy of the huge macrocosmic God. And this is so hard to understand. So I give you simple, very simple example. Let's say you take a very cool entity like Archangel Michael. Okay, everyone knows Archangel Michael. There is an archangel Michael in existence. It's a real entity in the spirit. It's the highest, probably, I guess, the highest archangel, or one of them. He's very, very close to God. He's very powerful. Okay, he exists a single time in the macrocosm, just once. He's once in the macrocosm, just once. But he is in you also, in me also, in every human being. There is a separate microcosmic archangel Michael entity, and this microcosmic archangel is a perfect identical copy of the microcosmic archangel, and it's living independently. It has an independent own consciousness, own memory, own life, and is living in his own microcosmic plane within the human being. So, and this is a huge difference. There is just one human being where Archangel Michael can reside. Just one, once in a time. And this is a huge important power. But everyone has his own microcosmic copy of Archangel Michael, and he is able to come out of your own microcosm. This is a mysterious process. Yes, he's just within your own self, and he can come up and go into your body.
Okay,
And then
so look,
yes,
this, of course, it all sounds exceedingly woo, and if people aren't, into all
yes,
this level of mysticism, they're going to go, "Ah, bullshit," and they're going to turn off the video and go and watch something else. So I need more. There's a tiny Michael in me, all to myself, and there's a tiny Michael in everybody else. Well, how, where? What proof have we got of this? Who's ever seen it? Who's experienced it? I've never experienced this tiny guy inside of me. I've never had any relationship with Archangel Michael. So if he's in me, he's fast asleep.
yes. It's just an example. You can take any other specific entity. Yes, any other entity. You have your own negative power demons. They're all inside of you, all of them.
Well, okay,
All
yeah.
angels are inside of you.
If you start off on that premise, then we don't need to get too woo about individuals because, look, I mean, I'm perfectly happy to accept that this is like a panpsychism and everything is in here. It's all mind, and I don't have any allegiance to outside and inside. As far as I'm concerned, there is no outside and inside. It's all one. It's one unified field of cosmic consciousness, and there's no outside, there's no inside, there's no differentiation outside of our human construct. And all these entities and beings and everything, well, they're all figments of consciousness and facets of our imagination, and all these sort of things. You see, the difficulty is with all this stuff is we can look at it from so many perspectives. And there is no fundamental believable facet to any of this stuff. When we start with Michael's in me, and well, who else is in me then? I'm pretty sure that Satan's within me, as well as God, as well as angels, as well as the Buddha. So everything's in us. Though, if we look at each individual cell of the human body, every single bit of information to make this whole miracle is within inside one of these microscopic tiny cells. So we could just say then, well, everything is just a microscopic tiny cell and everything's within it. That way we don't need to invent, mini me's and all this sort of stuff. Let's just start from the premise that it's all one, and there's just a million facets of us that can potentially come out if we look for them. Could we say that?
This is not my consciousness, because as a practicer, for me, it makes a difference. And also, like, how to deal with entities or with certain states of consciousness or experiences of any kind, it's a huge difference. who you are dealing with. So there is an intense how do you say, so there's the macrocosmic world and the microcosmic world, and in between is our body. It's like a station where microcosmic beings and macrocosmic beings can come together and meet each other, and they interact, and there are so many things happening, and if you practice, then you will see stuff going on. You will see these entities. You will even communicate with them, and you will get information from them, what they are doing and why they are doing this. Yes, and then you will get visits from entities from somewhere. They visit you. It's like, well, it's like, imagine you are a house, and well, entities are coming in and out all the time. They have relations in your own cell, in your body. They reside in your body. They have flats and places where they live and meet. They have conferences. They make plans and stuff. Evil ones, good ones. They're even fighting anything. They have relations. This is, wow. Yes, it's mind blowing, and it makes a huge difference to know these things.
Yeah.
So if you say all is one, then it's all like blurry.
Yes.
But knowledge is really important when you are on the spiritual path. The entities are working with you. They are taking influence on you, of course. And some of them, they want to communicate with you. They want you to know these things, because the more you know, the better you understand what they are doing and what is happening in your own self, the better you can handle that, the better you can behave according to their plans.
Yes.
If you are say, okay, I don't mind, it's all one and this and that, you don't understand nothing, you don't understand it. You see entities, you hear this and that, but you don't understand, and then you do not behave accordingly, and then their plans do not work, for example.
Yeah.
So
the last video I made today, I'm speaking, I'm reading from an excerpt of my book, and I'm speaking about the Jungian concept of archetypes, of all different sorts of spirits, angels and demons, and the wise old man and the knight in shining armor. All of these, what we call archetypes, which are symbols of facets of what it is to be a human being. And I'm speaking about our house, our body, our consciousness is like a house. And let's say the house has 20 rooms. In those 20 rooms, if you're not careful, you're going to get all different sorts of people lodging in those rooms. And they are going to want to be manipulating what goes on in the house. Because there are free radical entities which don't seem to have any particular home, and if you give them a home, they will come to rest within you. So let's just say then these entities, it's a metaphor of course, but they're spirits. I know that spirits pass through. Some reside in me, some have resided in me, others will come to reside in me. We are like an airport for traveling spirits. Spirits pass through us. Some stay overnight, some stay longer. And then if we have a recognition of these, we will discern that some of them we shouldn't really be welcoming. And then we have to work spiritually to extract these. Yeah. So that's a metaphor that I'm using. That's how my consciousness works, because it works more psychological, not necessarily mystical, but I can then relate it to the mystical, because if a landlord has a house, and it's not his house, he just has a house that he's going to rent out the rooms, but he's very busy because he's got lots of other houses and he doesn't pay any attention to that one. Well, soon enough, people are going to know that that house is empty. They're going to find a way in, and then they're going to become squatters. They're all going to start to residing in that house. And then when the landlord finds out, he can't just go and throw them out because they have rights. So you've got to get a court order to evict them, and that takes a long time. All this sort of thing. So this is the same as what goes on if we're not paying attention here. We will get negative energies reside within us, and then we've got to get them out, and they ain't going overnight. Are we speaking the same sort of thing here with these different facets of saying it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. You say the same like I did.
Yes.
It's the same. But you say it's metaphorical, and I say it's literal. It's not metaphorical, it's literal.
Right. Well, yes.
This
I mean,
is different.
yeah.
But you say exactly the same stuff, exactly the same. This is funny.
I'm saying that the story, the scenario is metaphysical, but the entities living within us, that is real. That is real as far as anything's real here. There are energies that reside within us, come and go. We can see visually when somebody has a negative attachment. We can see if somebody is a very highly spirited, noble person. They exhibit, they absorb this energy. So I know that that's true and real. As far as I know, anything's true and real. So I'm in agreement with that. And so if you say then to me that Michael is residing in one of these rooms within me, well, I will say, well, to my knowledge, I've never met him. So why haven't I met him?
Yes. So this is well, that's easy to explain, because your house is well, there's a certain number of spirits in this house. Some of them are macrocosmic and some of them are microcosmic, and they can meet in this room in your house.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, not every microcosmic being is in your house. Just certain ones, few ones, come out of your microcosm and go into your house. It's the same like from outside also. There are so many entities in this world, of course, but just a few come into your house. And so it's the same with the microcosm. The microcosm is a separated cosm in some way, although it's in us. And they first have to come into the house, from the microcosm into the house.
Right.
That's the point. And this is why should Archangel Michael go into your house? There must be a reason to come out of the microcosm, the same as from the microcosm. Why should Archangel Michael come to you? There has to be a certain reason why he will come to you. It's the same with the microcosm. It's exactly the same.
And Archangel Michael, he is a warrior, isn't he? And he fights against evil for us, yeah? So I suppose then he wouldn't be required in a house that there is no evil there.
He would be required, but this it doesn't make sense. He's a superstar. He's a VIP. He has lots of things to do.
Yeah, so if there's
why should he come into your house?
Nothing for him to get involved with, because that's his jurisdiction, slaying demons. Let's say, well, he's got plenty of work to do. We all agree on that. He's got plenty of work to do. So, I never consciously encountered, but in my book, I write about an encounter with what could be considered to be Satan, the devil, whatever, a very, very tangible evil, which hung around for at least 2 months, very, very powerfully. And its whole intention was to destroy. And I had to fight that. And I fought it with my own fortitude, what I thought was my own fortitude, knowing that at my root I am pure love, I am not evil, and evil comes to prey on people when they may be considered to be easy targets. But having come out of that, I said that, well, the chances are I never did it on my own. I did have some help. from the father of the light, let's say, when the father of the darkness was trying to envelop me. I'm like, well, who am I to take on such magnitude? I must have had a help from somewhere else. So maybe that was Archangel Michael fighting with me, having my back.
Might be, yes, it might be. If it was him or whatever, I mean,
But
this
you
is
see,
possible.
in my book, Edward, and this is really important, when I speak about things, I'm speaking about it very, very explicitly with the encounters that I know I've had. Angels and demons and God and Jesus and all that, but I don't know I've had any encounter with any archangel. I saw two angels. They seemed to be very beautiful and benevolent and calm and chilled and loving and all that. One of them wasn't a warrior. There was just a message in there for me, a very, very powerful message. But I had no awareness of any angel fighting for my cause or helping me. But that's something I'm open minded about, because this archangel, Michael, has been spoken about just as much as anything else, God, Spirit, Jesus, and all these sort of things. So I'm accepting that he's there, another one of the entities, but I haven't as yet met him.
Yes, I also well, Jesus is special, very special. But well, these things are going on, yes, and it's remarkable. It's also the same with I mean, Satan or these super high negative entities. They also just come up out of the microcosm only for a special reason, only if the person is really so. Well, it depends. Okay, it depends. They try also to possess people that are in esoterics and spirituality, just to control them and to use them. This is one possibility. I mean, they always want to do this, of
I've
course.
met people who I knew were possessed by demons,
Yes.
because you feel it, it's tangible, it's very, very apparent. And when you become spiritually endowed or on the path, you become very tuned in to energy. And when there's a negative one in your vicinity, you know it straight away. And so I know that they're there, and I know that they work through people, particularly people, if people are mad, they don't have the normal sensibility, then it's easy for them to be possessed by negative energies. Would you agree?
Yes, superficially, yes, but this is also an own topic. Possessions are also a huge topic. So you say you can feel it. Many people today are possessed, from my point of view, very clearly possessed.
Mm-hmm.
But you will not recognize it. Maybe you will feel it, but they behave normally. They might even be very friendly and calm and everything, and it's very hard to see it if you don't have the right eye for it.
Yeah.
But I am trained on this. This is a special. One of my skills is to perceive entity influence in the
Right.
people. It's, for me, many things are very clearly visible, and I can well, often it depends. So with these such persons, it's sometimes like I communicate with the demons through the people, and the people themselves, they don't know it. They are not aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the demon, or it must not be a demon. It can also be any kind of entity. Yes, and I know that I'm just talking to an entity, to a spirit. but the person has no idea. So the
So,
entity,
would you say
yes,
you're clairvoyant then to be able to do that?
you don't need to be clairvoyant. No, absolutely not.
Mm.
You understand it. It's knowledge and experience.
Mm-hmm.
They have their, you can discern also it, you see it in so many ways. Behavior is changing, or okay, very simple. People have certain mimics, gestures, or like, for example, I saw a person that made like this. Italians have this, is it called a gesture? Mamma mia.
Oh yeah.
You
Gesture.
know this.
Yeah,
They make this with
yeah.
fingers.
Mm-hmm.
This.
Right.
This is typical. So, girl, yes, and she has absolutely nothing to do with Italy. Nothing at all. She knows not a single Italian person ever. She does not watch movies with Italians. She has no relation. And then during a talk, she talks and she has this energy, and then she starts to do this. You see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, then I said, oh, I showed her, I gave her a mirror. I should. Are you aware that you just made this gesture? Are you aware of it? And then she felt being perceived. I mean, the spirit, the entity, yes,
Mm-hmm.
is smiling. Then, like, okay, he saw me, but it's a spirit of an Italian person, an Italian female spirit in
Right.
her was acting in that moment. So,
Right.
for example, or they have certain well, their personal preferences, aversions, their needs,
Mm.
what they like, for example, special food,
Yeah.
typical
Okay. So we
words, things, blah blah blah.
yeah we get these energy forms then, and they are living vicariously through us. In my book, I speak about 3 encounters with energy forms whilst taking the red and white mushroom, the Amanita muscaria. These entities were exceedingly visceral. I was very aware when they came, very aware when they left, and I went along acting like they wanted to act, how they were.
Yes,
One of them was a Viking, another one was a wolf, and another one was a primal man. And as soon as they entered into my body, I acted out for 10, 15 minutes, and this was all on camera with my friend filming me. And after, I'm like, wow, they were real things. The wolf, I was down on all fours. I was like, whoa, in the woods and everything, and I'm running around on all fours, and I'm sniffing everything, and I'm looking for alpha males, and I'm the top dog and I'm protecting my land. I just went into that. And so, yeah, these energies and spirits that work vicariously through us. But then you see, if you look at somebody like Jim Carrey, um, being that sort of person, you can't deny that when he's acting, he is inviting in spirits to play that part. And what Jim Carrey says, towards the end of his career, he says, "Look, I didn't know who I was." Because all those entities were equally real. Some more real than who I'm supposed to be. Jim Carrey. Who is Jim Carrey? I don't know who Jim Carrey is. So spirits are real, energies are real. We contend with them every day. And I would even go as far as to say that there is no body here. There is only ever representations of somebody which come and go. And I know when I'm doing my everyday stuff, and if I've been watching a video or a movie or something, I can be in a situation that I will find myself reciting what was said in the movie, doing the mimicking, maybe I want my mamma mia, and I'm like, where the fuck that's come from? I've been watching a mafia movie, and they're all into the food and the pizza and all this, and something enters us. and we it lives vicariously through us, and we can allow that to happen. We can encourage it, or we can try to prevent it. Now, sometimes I live alone, and I can get into a little bit of a rhetoric whereby I can start acting out something, pulling a stupid face, and I will do it um, for a while, until in the end I go, do I want to do that anymore? Yeah, sure I do. Why not? I can talk to myself like this in the kitchen. I'm acting out something. Well, who's acting out that? Just characters coming and going. Is it me? What's me? I don't know what's me. So what do you have to say about all that?
Yes, yes, of course, yes. Yes, it's so true, and the actors even they know it and they talk about it.
Yeah.
It's they say, well, just before I'm starting to act, I'm like myself, and then I start, and then suddenly I'm a completely different kind of identity.
Yes. So
Yes,
what
I
I'm saying here for the benefit of the viewers, that we don't have to be afraid of when we're speaking about spirits, because as soon as we know that spirits are everywhere and there's thousands of them in us, just waiting for their cameo, just waiting for their few lines. Some come for longer than others. And
just waiting for the line.
yeah, and look, you can go to work, you'll have one spirit at work, you'll meet your boss, you'll have another spirit there, you'll meet your girlfriend, you'll have another spirit there, you'll go and see your mother, you'll have another spirit there. All of these personas, that the masks that we wear, they are masks, because there is no human being here as such. There is only a conglomerate of ideas and spirits. What do you think about that?
Um, yes, so I agree totally that it does not make any sense to have fear from them. Not at all. The opposite is the case. We should not have any fear, but be courageous and just face it, because it helps us to get more self-awareness. I mean, imagine we are living in a world that has more than just one layer we're used to perceive. We perceive the physical world. We do not even perceive the whole physical world. There's even a subtle etherical part we normally are not able to see. And it's also there, and we don't see it. There are also like energies, beings in this etherical physical part that still belongs to the physical plane. So we are literally blind for most of this world we are living in. I mean, imagine we have 100 billion human beings, imagine, yes, but we can perceive just 1% of them. Okay,
Yes.
that's wrong. Sorry, I want to say, imagine we have 100 times as much people on Earth, but we can just see this 1%. I mean, how could we say we know what world we are
Well,
living in, or how
yes.
could we ever understand our world if we just see 1%?
Yeah. So let me run this one by you. In some of the out of body experiences that I had, I would have an entity come into our paradigm without me leaving my body. So when I'm going through it, just starting with the vibrations, normally what has to happen is the vibrations get so strong that then you are just propelled out of your body naturally. But what happened is, on a few of occasions when I just started to have the vibrations, there was such an impetuous energy form that came from the astral world into this physical world and was touching me or lying on my chest, and I was absolutely awake and I'm conscious, and this thing's there. And how do we work that out? Because there was no definite division between the two worlds. It seems that they could come through without me being in that special astral body. So when we hear about people being, haunted by attachments and things like that, well, I can most certainly see that. And lots of people, they speak about sleep paralysis when they are absolutely awake and then they're being touched, or they're being frozen by somebody. So all this stuff does go on, different variants of it. And so I suppose it's just how tuned you are to these vibrations, whether you see them or feel them. But I know, since I've been more spiritually inclined, I feel energies a whole lot more. And I'm more like a free house for them to come um, to show me something.
Well, so okay. One point was perceiving, like feeling this spirit touching you,
Yeah.
whatever. So this could be this could have two. So I have two possible reasons in mind. One would be clairvoyance. So you can perceive things visually or acoustically, but also you can feel them. Of course, you could feel them.
Right.
It could be some kind of clairvoyance. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the other possibility is that the spirit makes you feel him. Okay, it could also be a fake feeling. If a spirit is at a certain point in your body, he possibly has control over your bodily functions, and then he can make you feel anything he wants you to feel. This is also a possibility. Well, okay, so could you please repeat the last part for me?
I
I
don't know
just had
what.
some idea, but I forgot it.
What I will ask is, are you familiar with what I've just said? Because you say you have lots of out of body experiences, and so have you ever encountered that? And what's been your encounter when you have gone? Because these entities, when you are familiar with out of body experiences, when you're in the vibratory state, they come and get in bed with you. And that's very, very common. Everybody knows that. Everybody's felt that. You get something lift up the covers behind you. You feel the bed going down, the covers come back over, and then they'll start touching you, usually sexually. Have you had any of
Well,
that?
yes, okay. I remember what I wanted to say. If you have a house, you don't want anyone to come in this house. Normally, you close your door. You don't want anyone to come in. Of course, it's your home. It's your privacy. I mean, why would you leave your door open if suddenly any kind of entity could come in?
Yeah.
This is not how it should be. And in the spiritual realm or dimension, it's like that. If you close your door and someone has to break in, he commits a crime. But
Yeah.
if your door is open,
Yeah.
he can enter, and it's not a crime. It's legal.
Yeah. So when we are practicing to have out of body experiences, it is free game for them to come over into our dimension, because we're going into theirs. And so it seems that it's a free for all. They will come over. There's a threshold. There's an event horizon that we can pass over. We can pass into the astral world, and they can pass over into the physical world, and they can touch us, and we can feel the physical touch.
Yes, they are here, and they are surrounding us, and they are inside of our body also, of course. And at the same time, they can see the physical world. Why? They themselves are subtle, like etherical, probably, I guess, or maybe even astral or causal. But this is a bit blurry for me. So it's clear that the spirits are coming and going, and they're traveling. and they try to enter our house possibly, but not all of them are allowed to come. So in your own home, of course, there are spirits that work for you to protect you, to decide who can come in or not. So a spirit, normally he has to come and knock at the door, normally. Yes, if the door is closed, he has to knock and he has to say, hey, hi, I'm here. I just want to come in your house. And then the spirit from outside has to open the door for him. Do you understand what I'm saying? But these things happen actually. We should not be an open house for any spirit.
No, so we keep ourselves closed, of course, and this is why people burn sage to get rid of spirits from their homes and things like that. If they don't want, certain spirits, and then they'll invite other spirits to come, positive spirits. So by the time you've read my book, you'll have a much better idea of why I say the things I do and why I'm so adamant about some of these things. Because I've had very, very physically visceral experiences. And when I'm speaking about we're all God, there's a very good reason for that. And of course, it stemmed back for 14 years, even longer than that. I've always known that I've never been alone. I've always walked with the power of God alongside me. And I've traveled all over the world. And I've got into a few scrapes now and again, but I've always got out of them with absolute perfect health and having received wonderful messages from them. And so there's something that's walking with me. There's something that is taking me on a journey. There's something that wants to work with me for something I'm doing. And maybe this is my vocation. And as much as I try to get people to, get involved with it, nobody's even coming close to what I'm saying. And it's kind of like I'm way out there. I'm way out there, man. And so look, if I say something like, consciousness is God. Why do I say that? I say it because for all these years that human beings have been on this planet, we haven't got a single idea what consciousness is. What else do we not have a single idea what something is? The essence of God. We haven't got a single idea, to be fair. We just have speculation. We've got speculation of God. We've got speculation of consciousness. So I say, well, you can't experience the notion of God without consciousness. So therefore, it seems to me that consciousness and God have to be the same thing. They're inseparable in their indecipherability. We've got no idea what they are. And when it says things in the Bible, oh, you can't know God, God's too powerful and he's too beyond you. Well, we can't even know the thing that's telling us about God. The consciousness, the voices in our head. We don't know the author of that. So it just seems an obvious no-brainer to me. For God's sake, people, wake the fuck up. That thing that is giving you life is fucking God. Excuse my French, for God's sake. But doesn't that make perfect sense? There's no God up in the clouds. There's no God anywhere. God is here. God is doing this. This is
God is
God.
everywhere. God is everywhere.
Yeah, this
At any
is God.
time.
Everything's God. Why can't everything be God? Why can't this microphone be within God? It's enabling us to do this stuff. I'm talking to you thousands of miles away, apparently. What is this magic that's going on? It's all magic. Everything's magic. We're told that, oh, well, there's waves going through the sky and it's carrying little particles of information. Really? I mean, that's even more harder to believe than the man up in the sky, to be fair. It's just magic, mate. How am I seeing your picture now? And, there is, a real you, 3,000 miles away, and every time you do this, I see you doing that here on this screen, and it looks like it's giving me the impression that it's a human being, but it's not. I'm not speaking to a human being. We're not hearing a human being. We are hearing a false representation, aren't we? And yet we're believing that we're speaking to a human being. It's all fake. It's all false. Every single bit of it. So why do we pick and choose about which bits are fake and false? That's what I'm saying.
It makes a difference. I mean, it depends on you, of course. What do you want? Do you want anything? Where do you want to go? What do you want? I mean, you want to go up. Do you? You want to expand and rise or not? You want to improve. I mean, your current state of consciousness is not the goal, right? Or are you satisfied with your current state of consciousness?
I don't have any drive to be more conscious, because
why?
Sorry.
Yes, but why?
Oh well,
I mean,
look, years ago, I was aware that meditation would increase our state of consciousness. And when I used to meditate, I used to have a mantra that my consciousness is expanding by 10%. And I'd do that for several months. And then I'd go, my consciousness is expanding by another 10%. And then after a few months more, I'd go, fuck it. My consciousness is expanding by 100%. If I can do 10%, 20%, why don't I just do 100%? And then what happened is my consciousness was expanding to such a degree whereby nobody could actually converse with me, because they've got no grasp on what I'm saying. I've obviously gone so far out there that, people just don't know what I'm saying. And that's the thing. It all seems so very, very clear and very elementary to me, but people seem to struggle with the tiniest little thing. And I'm like, you're too myopic in your consciousness. You've got to come out and look at the whole thing. If you come out and you look at the whole thing and you ask yourself simple questions, what do we know about consciousness? We know nothing. What do we know about God? We know nothing. What do we really know about the cosmos? We know nothing. Well, what do we really know? Nothing. How much do we kid ourselves that we know something? Oh, in everything, every single arena. Look, there's people watching this video now, and they're going to go, oh, I know how this works. I'm a technician, and it's pixels on a screen and this, that, and you're like, really? Is that really? Do you really know how that works? Or is that just because you've read a few lines of something and you've absorbed that and now you think, you've invented, you've imagined that you know how it works? Can you see these particles coming together, these microscopic particles, and can you, really see these particles flying through the air, coming from Germany into an antennae around? Where is the antennae? Out in the street, and then it's coming down a fiber octave, and it's coming here. Look, 1,000 years ago, we'd call this witchcraft, and I don't think it's any different now. I really don't, because there isn't a single man in the street that could tell you how any of this stuff works for sure. Because how this stuff works is, for instance, this technology has took millions of people incrementally working on a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. No one person knows how the whole thing works. So therefore, we are told this and told that, and we just believe it. We just accept it. And that's all that's going on. It's just someone is waving their magic wand and we believe in it.
Okay, you're talking about technology.
Well, I mean, you could say it's technology. I think it's magic. I think the whole world is magic.
Yes,
I think it's all, a dream. To be fair.
Yes, I got the point. And well, I have my attitude, or it's like a practical thing. Okay, what knowledge do we have? Of course, yes, you're right. The world is miraculous and magic, and what do we see of this world? I know this, of course. It's like,
and what knowledge do we have individually? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
as good as nothing.
Mm.
But still, I mean, we have something, just tiny little bit, and this is what we need to make these things, to create them, to build them, to use them. We need
You
just a
know
little
what
bit.
I think it's like? And this just came into my head now. When you're saying we have this tiny little bit of knowledge, well, I imagine that as like one pixel. One pixel on a movie screen, one pixel on a computer. Let's say there's 50 million pixels on this screen. And if those 50 million pixels, they create the screen, yeah? Someone just blanked then. It's all going weird now I'm talking about it. Those pixels create the screen. Each individual human state of consciousness. What I'm saying here is, Edward, is that we are building up our projector and we are projecting our movie out onto the cosmic blank screen. There is nothing here save for human consciousness, which is projecting our collective pixels into the whole, into the entirety of it. And that's what we are seeing. That's what we're dreaming collectively. We're in a collective dream.
So do you assume me to be a conscious being with a conscious that is up and alive, phenomenal, real, like your own self?
No, I don't even think I'm real.
Wait. That doesn't make sense. So I am real. I mean, I myself, my consciousness, being aware, this is real, of course.
Why do you say of course? How do you know it's real?
I know it because I am. This is very simple.
Well, there's something that tells you that you are, but
No, it's not. Nobody tells me. I know it because
no,
I am.
nobody, something, consciousness is telling you that.
No,
No?
no, I am. I am just it. I am. I don't have to say it. I know it without words. I don't need words to know that I am.
Hmm.
But I can't prove it, of course. How would I prove it? I can't. You
Yeah.
cannot prove it to me, and
Yeah, I can say I am, and that's why I say, well, I am God, because anybody that's a conscious entity is a fractal of God. And so, I'm tired, and I'm not about to tell people and try to lift them up. We are God. We are God. We are God. Look, people, viewers, you'll make your own mind up what you think you are. And I'm not going to be telling you you're God the same as me just to protect myself so people don't say to me, oh, he thinks he's God now. That I know I'm God because there's something here which is absolutely genius and brilliant and it makes all this come true. And how can this be just from this human being that's just evolved out the dirt? No, it's too beyond any of that. It's completely magic and brilliant and genius. And so if people are happy with God, then why can't we assume that, well, we are a part of God at least? Why do they have to go, oh, we're not God, we're weak and we're nothing, and God's up there? Come on. Be real, people. Be fucking reasonable.
for a normal person with a normal world view picture, it's difficult. I mean, I understand that, and it's not possible to force it. It's like talking about what is this I am. This is so funny because so many people are just discussing about this so often and intense, and there are books and so many books just on this. What is this I am?
Okay, so
This
this is
for me, it's the most simple thing ever to
right.
understand. I understood it from the beginning on of my spiritual journey. I knew what it meant. I
So
am.
so you are. That's just you are. Yeah. Uh,
Yes, but you can discuss with people like endlessly because of what is this I am
yeah.
and prove it and
And
blah blah.
look. Edward, this is the very, very point of the first video I put up today. I said that we are God, and my logic is irrefutable. Now, you know, absolutely, the only thing we can possibly know, like Rene Descartes, the 1650s philosopher, the only thing that he found when he looked for what he was the I am. I am because I think. Well, I mean, Buddhists will take it one step further and they'll go, no, 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 I am because I don't think. When you don't think, you still are. You've got pure awareness. Now, if we can't get rid of the I am, then we must be the fundamental premise of the cosmos, because everything else we can dispute it. We can't dispute our own essence. So doesn't that afford us the privilege of being able to say that we must be God then?
You can say that, and it's fine, but for me it's not the point. So
you think you're separate to God?
Well, there are other states of consciousness that are being more close to him, like the source, of course, and that makes, of course, a huge difference.
Yeah, because look, when we take psychedelics or when we have mystical experiences, we enter into that state of consciousness where we absolutely know we are him. So there are variances of consciousness. You see, when we come down to the human being, the regular drone, well, we become so detached from God consciousness. And of course, that's a necessity, that's a requirement to give the human experience. Because if we all knew we were God, it would be a whole different ballgame, wouldn't it?
Yes, so if we would actually know it all the time, like being aware, like being it literally, like being connected to the source in this higher state of consciousness, then the world would look completely different. But I am not at all always by far in such a state.
Nobody can be. You can't be. It's not possible.
Oh yes, it's possible. You can.
Really?
Anything is possible. We could this is my personal conviction 100% that we as humans can reach any kind of state 100% all day long 24/7. There are a few limitations because of this body, but we can get a different body, like an eternal physical body that is called rainbow body. This is also the body that Jesus Christ has got from God. And this body is eternal, and there is no need to sleep, no need to eat and stuff. And there anything that we are not limited yet is possible. At least with this body, anything is possible, for example. But it's always the question, what do you want? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What matters to you? This is the important thing. Why? You can just sit and say, okay, I'm fine with everything just like it is. I take my drugs or not. I'm aware of myself. I am God. I have whatever. Yes, okay, fine. But this is not for me. This is not what my life is about at all. So for me, it's clear. I have this body. I have subtle bodies. I have an astral body, a causal body, a supercausal body. Next body, I have a soul. And I want them all to be cleaned. I want them all to be developed 100%. Yes, I want to reach that highest kind of state, like with all my subtle bodies, including my soul, to be able to walk in the dimensions, in any kind of dimensions. I want to be fully awakened, as with anything that God gave me, just like he gave us human beings. I want to develop this. I want to be just like a master. I want to be able to switch the dimensions, to work, to help. I want to help. I have compassion. I care for others. This is from my heart. And this is, for me, it's a divine quality, of course. So I would never be satisfied just being one with God, because there are so many entities that are suffering. They want to do things. They want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. They want to develop. They need help, assistance, and this and that. And I'm here being able to provide all of this. Yes, I want all of this to develop it. It's not enough for me, like just sitting around, oh, I am, and I'm one with God. Fine. What does it matter? All of these people are here. It doesn't matter to me. Yes,
but
really not.
No, the thing is about that is that this creation of Earth and this Kali Yuga paradigm, epoch, vibration, whatever it is a realm where we are apparently physical and we do suffer. Now, the cosmos created that. So, are you stating that the cosmos has got something wrong? That you want to change the cosmos?
Change the cosmos.
Yeah, why do you want to relieve
The
everybody
cosmos
suffering?
changes all the time.
My suffering has given me an immense amount of wisdom. And if you took away all the suffering that I had, then you would have about 1/10 of the wisdom within me. And so, if you take people's suffering away, you're taking any opportunity of them rising up like you want to.
No, I don't want to take. Specifically, I don't want to take away the people's suffering. I just want to be able to help them to go through their suffering in a way that helps them to develop, to come forward. I mean, people have pain and they just are ruined because they can't handle the pain. You need help to grow through pain. Yes, of course, my pain is the most valuable thing ever. Yes, whatever. No one can understand. Most people have no idea what pain can be behind all of this.
So therefore, then, look, the way I look at it is
but
the universe.
I want to give help, assistance, guidance. If a person is just thrown into the dirt and is weak and has no idea, I mean, we are getting help all the time by the spirits. Of course, we need help all the time. We need it urgently. Without help, we are completely lost.
Well,
At all.
If we're getting all the help from the spirits, then why don't you just leave the spirits to do their job? Well, why do you concern yourself with easing other people's suffering? Because it doesn't make sense. But, we know you're suffering.
Makes sense. It's my heart. It's a compassion.
Well, do you not think that your heart is corrupt? And I say this from a psychological perspective, because if you have this like do-gooder kind of like notion that you want to ease people's suffering, I would say, well, come and sit on my couch, because I want to look inside your psyche, and I'm pretty sure now that I will find some childhood suffering that you've not assimilated, and you were with the greatest pain, physical and emotional, and now you want to protect other people from that because it was a terrible thing. But if you assimilate it and you grow from it and become strong from it, then it was a beautiful thing. So do you think that you've assimilated all of your childhood pain as much as you possibly could? Because if I think it's a residue of your pain, that's why you want to try to protect other people from it, because this is as clear as a bell what we always see. When we've got these leftists, liberalists, and they're all screaming up and down, oh, this person's shouting at that person, and it's not right to shout. Well, all you got to do is you got to look into their childhood, and then they'll say, well, I come from a broken family, and my mother's boyfriend was always shouting at me, and it made me cry. They're doing exactly the same. This is how.
No, that's not the point. This is not the point. This is not what I want.
What is it that you want, and where does it stem from? Because I don't see it like that. I don't have a problem with the world's pain. The world's pain is for a purpose. Everybody has it, and if people deal with that pain, take it on board as they should, um, considering that everything is for purpose and a reason. If we're on this trajectory to a higher self, you see, it's only the people which are lower consciousness, muggles, that don't know the benefit of pain, that don't know the wisdom in pain. Well, they're going to go, oh, I don't want pain, oh, suffering. No, 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 suffering's the best thing that could ever happen to you. It will wake you up for a start, you fucking idiots.
No. I understand you. I'm 100% on your side. I agree with you. Suffering is valuable. It is needed. It is even a blessing. And God is working with suffering. And this is also because he allows evil, of course. Also, you could say he allows evil to do many bad things so that we can learn, that we can develop. Because one thing we learn from our is pain, of course. Pain can give much of motivation. Of course, I know that. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about giving help to develop. It's like God. God is not coming to you and just picking you up out of pain and preventing you to develop. He knows exactly what this pain will bring you to. He knows the gain you will have from this pain, but he will stay with you and he will guide you and he will help you to go through this pain and to get your gain from the pain so that you won't break down. Or if you break down, then he picks you up so you can go forward.
Okay.
Do you understand? So yes.
But there's many people that don't get picked up, that don't get the strength. So
Yes.
this God, to me, then, he seems like he's a bit of a weakling. If that's his intention, to pick people up and pat them down, well, he fails miserably all over the world every single day.
There's a very simple reason for this. They do not ask him. Very simple. You have to ask God for help to get a specific help. He helps even without asking him. But this is just some basic essential stuff.
You know, Edward, I've never asked him. I've never believed in him. I've always looked at my pain and said, thank you, pain. You are serving me a very, very valid purpose, because I know you are giving me the opportunity to show my mettle to the world, to show my mettle to myself, that I'm not a coward. I'm not going to be running away from my pain and from my trauma. I'm going to face it, because I know somewhere intuitively, instinctively, there's light in there. There's gold in there. And so bring it on.
Yes. You got help from God. God helped you. Even though you did not ask him for help, he helped you. But he helped you for a certain reason. There must be a reason.
But why doesn't he help anybody else then for a certain reason?
Because everyone has a very specific, certain background, and this background matters. These are our past lives. This is also our value. Maybe you. So I personally, I assume that you are a special soul, of course, and you are very valuable for God. This is why he supports you so much. He knows you, but you forgot it, because we all forgot.
You saying that now, if we was in a cinema, people would be throwing tomatoes and cabbages at you, because the last thing they're going to be thinking that I need is for anybody to be telling me anything like that.
What do you say? What do you mean?
Well, I'm always blowing my own trumpet, and it's probably not healthy for me for other people to do that as well. But I very much appreciate it because it is actually very very apparent, and you're only saying that something that is obvious, which most people they won't say it, they daren't say it, they can't say it, they haven't got the strength. But you see, look, our hearts are in the same place. You want to help people. And I evidently want to help people, but we do it in a very different way. And I do it probably in a very questionable way. I don't know because it's very difficult to get people to come forward to actually say. But the video after video after video after video that I'm saying, the message is coming from somewhere, and I'm like, don't blame me, don't shoot the messenger. It's not me, it's not Aaron Berry, it's him. He's making me do it. And then in the next breath, I'm saying, well, I'm him, I'm God. I've got everything he's got. Nothing different about me. And then they'll say, well, Jesus says we're just the same as him. And in actual fact, Jesus said we could potentially be better than him. So if he was God and we could be potentially better than him, I'll have a piece of that. Right. Okay. Where do I start? Where do I get my badge? But then people are like, oh, you can't say that. You can't do this. You can. No, I can. I do. And I am every day. And so I've picked these bits out, and I've not been eclectic and selective. I look at the whole bunch of it, and it seems to me that there isn't any doubt or shadow of a doubt in my mind that the human being collectively, potentially, is God. There is nothing that we know any higher than our state of consciousness. And so that surely is on the pinnacle of the mountain. And if we're on the pinnacle of the mountain, then we must be a God of a sort. And that's my logic. And I say, refute it. Refute it. Any of you refute it.
What means refute?
Discount it.
Discount it. Oh, God.
You see, look, God made us in his image. Well, he made a replica. He made replicants of himself then, didn't he?
Yes, of course.
So why can't we say that we are God then? Why has everybody got a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with it. Absolutely not. Not at all. Say it. I'm fine with it. I mean, I know how you mean it, and you have your reasons, and I can comprehend that to a high degree, maybe even completely. I don't know, but it's fine for me. And it's like, it depends. You can understand it like, there is a human being like with a normal consciousness, and he just standing up and tells everyone, I am God, I am God. So it's their perspective. A normal guy, a normal reasonable guy would never say, I am God. Why would he? But you are a spiritual being, you have experiences, you are a philosopher, you have all these things in mind, you have this and that. And from that perspective, from that point of consciousness, well, if you say it, it makes sense. It's a completely different thing, but they cannot comprehend your perspective. So what's the point? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I say, well, it's not like I've risen myself up above anybody else. I put myself above other people for personal attributes, for the amount of study I've put into something, because I'm not lazy, because I've got the greatest of tenacity, and I keep at it, I keep at it, I keep at it, and I go through all the pain and all the suffering, and I climb mountains, and I come back with the gems, and I show people what I've found. And I will say to them, if you climb this mountain, then you too can find this stuff. It's not mystical. It's not rocket science. It's stuff that I, as a human being, have done. And okay, I'm a strong and I'm the determined one, and I'm not too stupid. So any of you guys, which are of similar caliber to me, you can do it. It's there for you. Some people have a problem with my elitism because they would like to think that God and this blissful state of being is available to everybody. And that's not been my experience. Because I look around and I go, no, you need to be highly intelligent if you're going to have bliss in here, because otherwise you're going to buy into all this bullshit and you're going to suffer and you're going to think that's what this world is. It isn't, because suffering is a state of mind. Once you rise up out of your myopic state of mind, you enter into the kingdom of God, which is a higher state of consciousness. And then you look around and you look at it at a whole different perspective. And so I listen to a lot of gurus and I have over the past, and there's only one really that I got a lot of time for, and that's Osho. Are you familiar with Osho?
With Osho, yes, I am. Of course, I am. I know him. I read his books when it was like when I was when was it? 20 years ago. There was a time when I was very fond of Osho. I read his books, I recited him, I talked about him quite often.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated. I even made meditations. He released music like the Rose. There was a music cassette with a Rose meditation. I collected his cassettes. I heard his satsangs. Of course, I know him. But later I was disappointed because he turned out to be not that far developed as I supposed him to be. You know his story.
Yeah, absolutely. But you see
It was not glorious at all. Not glorious at all. And the things he did, he was just he was sitting all the time in his temple. Yes, everything cooled down, and he was just in this state, I am. And around him was a town of people, and this town got completely mad. And he just rejected everyone because he just wanted to sit there and be. You know what I am? And everything escalated totally. And that led basically, probably, this was the point why he got, assassinated, poisoned. Probably, I guess. I assume that he was poisoned. However, he failed. It was a big failure in the end.
Well, the downfall of that community was that he went into silence for 3 years, and he left the running of it to other people. Sheila, the main operative, and she wasn't a spiritual person. She was a power hungry person, and she went feral. She went completely out of control, and that's what brought the whole thing down. And then Osho came back and he said, well, look, even my room was being bugged. I was being bugged. Everywhere was being bugged. I didn't know about it. I had nothing to do with it. And so I don't think any portion of blame could be rightfully placed in his lap, other than his self-indulgence and his neglect for 3 years.
Well, okay, I don't blame or judge in that way, in that sense. Not at all. I mean, it was his life and whatever. Yes, but still, it would have been, how would I say, if you are a master and you are that successful and you have a community, you would take care of this community. And if you take care of it, then this will never happen. This is normal. How could an enlightened master just leave such a community, go mad that far? Just like telling, okay, I am what I am and I want to be on my own self. Well, it doesn't make sense for such a master to take himself back. It doesn't make sense. And there was a huge damage. This community could have reached so much. It was so powerful. Do you know how difficult it is to create such a community? How much power was needed that to collect all these people, building up a city, a town, in the States? This was a miracle. It was so valuable. Why? It doesn't make sense. Okay.
All empires come to an end, don't they? They all have their time. And I can't help thinking that it doesn't really matter how much management somebody puts into something, the will of the people, the zeitgeist of the time, is going to change direction, and nothing's going to be staying the same, and energies do fluctuate. When you've got a city, effectively a city, with fluctuating energies and different political stances, and there's so much that goes into all that. But I think the difficulty is with anybody that he's placed up on a pedestal. Well, there's only one place to go, and that's down. Unless you are a fictitious figure like the Buddha, there's a story which came out of somewhere, and nobody can check it because it was 800 BC and all this sort of thing. I don't believe it for a minute. I really don't. I don't believe anything. I don't believe the Jesus story. I mean, it's all idealism. That's all we ever do as human beings. We just, and look, why is these people? It's like Krishna. Why was he a prince? Why was Siddhartha a prince? Why was Jesus the Son of God? Why can't they just be normal people that with great insight? Why do they always have to be, have this great lineage of kings and queens in some shape or form? Because the human being just doesn't respect anybody else. They don't respect people that rise up out of nothing. They don't seem to. It doesn't seem to carry any weight. There's always got to be a prince involved or a king, and well, in that case, then it must be believable. But what about the pauper? Well, what about the shepherd? He came from nowhere. And of course, then that's the whole Jesus thing, the son of a carpenter. But then it turns out he wasn't really the son of a carpenter. He was the son of God. Oh, okay. Why couldn't he just be the son of a carpenter? That makes it much more believable for me. And I'm perfectly happy with him being the son of a carpenter. Or the son of a shepherd, whatever he was. What was Joseph? Don't remember anyone saying what.
Craftsman, I guess.
Well,
Carpenter.
yeah, Jesus was supposed to be a carpenter. But then, where did Jesus do this carpentry? He came on the scene when he was 30 years old. Nobody spoke of him making any tables or chairs before then. And so what's this fucking carpentry bullshit? And then people say that he was in India and he came back from India, having lived 12 years in India, and this, that, and the other. None of this stuff matters to me because I know how corrupt the human mind is. And anything that comes out of the human mind, without a shadow of doubt, has a very high level of corruption in it. And so we'd all be very, very wise not to have any beliefs in anything that anybody's ever said. And this is why, I'm a very great adherent to lots of the things that Jesus said. The kingdom of God is within you all. All that I can do, you can do better. And we're all twins. We're all sons of God. Book of Thomas, that sort of thing. I'm a very deep adherent to all that. Where it all goes pear-shaped for me is when he is Jesus, but then he's also God, and then he's also the Son of God, and then he's the Spirit as well, and then none of this stuff seems to make any sense. It's very questionable, and it can't work out logically, and then you need a magician to change, put a spell over the people. Look into my eyes, look into my eyes. No. What was he God? Was he the Son of God or what? And if he was God, and he made manifest in a human being, then why did he kill himself on the cross? And if he killed himself on the cross, then how could he have rose himself up when he was dead? And it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. Just silly pies in the sky. It doesn't, though, does it? It doesn't make sense.
So I just have my own theory, and my theory is related to the karmic law. So if someone commits a sin or a crime against the karmic law, then there has to be a compensation, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a cosmic law.
I think there's grounds for that, most certainly, yeah.
Yes, it's very okay, basically. And to me, it makes perfect sense that a man who is really like being one with God in this super state of consciousness, power, unity with God, that such a man has a tremendous value. And if such a man is killed for no reason, it's a crime, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The car, and I mean, he had a value. Okay, such a person has a value. If a saint is being killed, this is of course a very it's a tremendous crime. Okay, because he has the power to help many people, to do good things, to help people in so many ways. If such a person dies, it's a different thing than if someone regular dies, of course. So for me, it's like, how do you call when you go fishing? What do you use to catch the fish, to attract him?
Bait or lure?
Bait. Bait, yes. Okay. So for me, Jesus was some kind of bait. So it was like they were just talking, how can we get the negative power to do something that we can kill her in the end. She has to commit a crime, and this crime has to be really very, very, very serious. So Jesus came as a bait, and the negative power got mad. They got mad. They couldn't resist to kill him. They couldn't resist. They simply had to kill him because it was so seductive to have him like this. I mean, they could kill him. They could have done anything with him. They couldn't resist to kill him, so they did it. But this was a crime, a horrible crime. And the price was like being able to offer some kind of path that could evolve and do many good things. Of course, there were so many bad things, we know that, but it's not also the bad. You also have a lot of good things. Well, it's obvious. So it's like a seed that has grown over the thousands of years. It has grown to something really big, huge, and well, I suppose this to get this tree, like to get the fruits in the future. This is what I suppose, but this is just my theory. Yes, my personal theory.
That's all very feasible, because you haven't mentioned him being the Son of God and being rose back up again to be God. You just spoke to him as a man who was seductive and a shining example of what the human being could possibly never live up to. And so he was probably even killed because of that, because nobody could ever live up to your expectations. How could anybody ever be such a wonderful shining star? And we've got to get rid of you and burn everything about you, and so you never existed. But the seduction was too powerful. Of course, that lives on. But we're going to be wrapping up now in like 15 minutes, 2 hours on this one. But just going back then to the question initially about we being God. I've been presenting to people in my book and in my videos for many years why I see it's perfectly rational and reasonable that we could consider ourselves to be God, and it isn't so blasphemous. It's most certainly not blasphemous for atheists. They might feel that it's kind of like it rubs against everything they've ever learned in their lives, because God's supposed to be up there. And it's kind of like, now this guy's calling himself God, and he's not actually calling himself God. I'm not actually, calling myself the God. I'm saying that consciousness is God, because if we can't find what consciousness is, we can't find really the essence of God. We only imagine it. Well,
Yes.
I'm just speculating. Well, it seems to me that they're both the same thing. And if we assume that they are the same thing, we have consciousness. So why don't we have God consciousness. That's all I'm saying in my book. It's God consciousness that gives us this creational power. Because if we look at what humans do when we are creating everything, we create. We're doing exactly what it said. In the Genesis, we're creating. Only we're not waving a wand in the air. We're speaking it. And like in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was good, and the Word was this, and the Word created that. That's what we do. That's exactly what we do. So it all just seems perfectly obvious to me, and that's all I'm saying. And I've yet to get somebody actually in my camp that says, I'm with you on that one. I'm all for it, because the logic is pretty sound, and as an alternative, it sounds too woo-woo, too mystical. Nothing can be proven, and everybody's even in dispute about it. And even Christians themselves, they split themselves into 10,000 different sects, and they all arguing and want to kill each other. So,
Okay, that's funny.
yeah, but that's the reality, isn't it? And so I step outside of that. I'm like, you don't need any of that. People, you don't need any of that. All you got to do is look in, like the Buddha says, or like any guru says, or any devout spiritualist. They'll say all you need to find the essence of what you are, find the I am, is look in. So in my video, I said, look, when Moses asked God, Yahweh, who are you? Yahweh replied, I am that I am.
Yes.
And so, I am that I am. I am this and I am that. Well, okay, if we say that, you try it. You look around and you go, I am that chair, I am that table, I am that ceiling. And if someone says to you, you fool, what are you talking about? You think you're that table and chair? Well, if you say to them then, well, where are those tables and chairs? And then someone might say they're over there or it's up there. Where are they in your opinion? Where's all this information going to? You see, this is what people they don't get, because you have to come back inside. You have to be philosophical. You have to be psychological, because all the tables and chairs, just like Plato said, they're not out there. They're in here. So therefore, when we say, I am this, I am that, I am that, that's what we are doing. I am everything I see, because it is all going on in chemicals inside my brain, and it is all me. And if we stood in the same vicinity and I asked you, what do you see? Well, you'd tell me very, very different to what I saw in the details. If we're standing by a building, you go, there's a building there. And I'd go, well, yeah, what do you see? And then you'd start to go down into the detail. But your detail will be very different to my detail, because we perceive things differently. So therefore, is that a building in actual fact standing in front of us? Well, it doesn't look like it, because if you've got 100 people describing that building, they'd all describe it pretty different. And so therefore you'd say, well, there's 100 buildings in 100 minds. So is the building not in the mind?
Yeah, this is philosophy.
Yeah.
Right? This is philosophy. And philosophy, it's fine. It's fine. It's philosophy. Okay. Osho was a brilliant philosopher. Did you know that he got the highest grade?
No.
He studied philosophy.
Right.
And it's legendary, the story how he made his application, his test, the last oral test. He was like sleeping too long, and he got too late, and his friend had to even push him. Come on, go to the test, and it's so important. And then, oh no, it was written. Sorry, he wrote, I guess, a page or something, and it was A plus. It was even better than the best of the best. He just got the point. He just made the point. He got in and went away, and he was just like perfect. And they checked him. They talked to him. He was the best philosopher ever.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is the foundation of Osho. He's a philosopher.
And he says there's no God.
For example, he said that. He said many things.
Yeah.
He also things that are, you could say, they are a contradiction, of course.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Well, okay, Auschwitz is a separate topic. We could also talk about him for some time. But for me, question is, what does it matter? What does it matter? To me, these things do not matter at all. What matters to me is that I listen to the sound, that I practice, that I call God's name, like practicing, like investing time, passion into my relationship to this God in the form, in this appropriate form, because he has many forms. Yes, he also appears to be as a friend. So he is okay. There you're talking about consciousness. God is consciousness. Yes, fine. Yes, we can talk about it. It's so real. It's so true. Fine, but this is the absolute God. This is like the highest of the highest, the pure essence of what God really is consciousness, pure crystal clear, highest frequency, eternal, like yes, all of this. But coming down, he gets different forms. So for example, each spiritual plane has a ruler, like being a god. So the is not the highest absolute form of God. It's a mind God. He's the is related to the causal plane and below. If you go beyond you're getting into higher spiritual planes that are even larger, finer, lighter, more lightful, brighter, whatever. And there is a different God, like ruler of this plane, of the spiritual plane. And this is like God, but coming down. It's like, so we humans are God in this world. We are supposed to be God in this world. He wants us to rule this world, or better, let's say, he wants to rule this world through us. We are the vessel that is supposed to serve him to rule this world, so we can get one with God, so that he can rule this world through us. But the higher planes also have vessels where God can act, of course. So, well, okay, it's a bit complicated, but to me, the only thing that really matters is practice, experience, and it doesn't matter to me that all of this is some kind of projection or the essence is God in everything. Yes. What matters to me is, for example, to reach a state of consciousness where I see the God particles everywhere, to reach a state where I see all the entities, where I see the divine power, where I can see, perceive, hear, whatever. This is what matters to me.
So do you have a daily meditation practice?
More than that, I'm practicing all the time. Even now, while we are talking, I have my this artificial sound meditation stuff I have in my right ear, and while you're talking, I'm also simultaneously, I'm listening to you, but I'm also simultaneously listening to the sound to charge energy.
Right.
Yes, this is a special technique that I was given. That is a part of my program. Yes, this is a tool to charge energy that anyone can use. Absolutely everyone can use this very easily and simply, of course. So no matter what I do, I'm constantly always doing something, always. When I'm walking around, I am either listening to this, then I have music. I use music as a tool to to feel closer to God. This is also a very, very special thing. You can use music for your spiritual progress. This is a very, very powerful tool. Well, then I'm visualizing the spinning disc here or here, like a fan, high speed rotating. This is a transformation practice. You can transform your energy into some usable energy, yes, for your progress, for your power. I'm also doing this, or I'm just focused on my third eye and talk to God, like being focused on God, like being focused on His presence. And I do this all the time, or calling his names, like calling some names. Mm-hmm. Yes, like reciting Om, for example.
Yeah.
Or Yahweh, just reciting Yahweh in your mind. Or maybe I'm sitting and I do it vocally, orally, also.
Right.
So yes, and I am in a state of consciousness where everything I do is related to God, to serve Him, to get closer to Him. Everything I do, everything serves just this thing. Everything.
So begs the question then: why is speaking to me something that you wanted to do? If everything you do is to get you closer to God, how are you getting closer to God by speaking to me?
Yes, it's obvious, isn't it? It's not obvious to you.
No.
Okay, first of all, for me, in my consciousness, it's very clear that God wants us to talk. God wants us to communicate. He wants us to connect. This is what He wishes. It's His wish.
Right.
And by doing this, I fulfill His wish. So I serve God just because of this. I'm serving God. Then the next point is that I was given lessons. Yes, I learned things, and it is my command or order that I have to spread what I have experienced. Mm-hmm. I have to be useful because there was some kind of investment. So you see, when you read my book, you will see there's so much information in it, and this is not just for myself. It's not just to write it down and say, oh wow, I know this and I have this and that. No. It serves a purpose, and the purpose is to spread it. We talk, you record, other people get to listen.
Yeah.
And this will help them. It will motivate them. It will inspire them. It will push them. Mm-hmm. It will help them to make progress.
You see, what you and I are doing, we're doing the same thing, because every day I'm doing sometimes 5 hours meditation. Sometimes I listen to 432 hertz. I'll meditate every night before I go to bed, midnight for an hour. I'll meditate first thing in the morning. I'll meditate in the churchyard. I'm making videos about God, philosophy, the nature of what it is to be, I am. I'm reading all these religious texts and scriptures. I'm calling out for people to come to extract something out of me, or let me extract something out of you, because there is information. You have information. I have information, and I can say my information in video. But I'll say something different if I'm probed or prompted to by somebody else. So therefore, there's another way of me delivering something. And so then we make these videos, and we're both reaching our objective. It's going out there for a few people again. So we're on the same journey. We're doing the same thing, and we are emissaries for the man. Obviously, I wonder. what people think of what they see in what I'm doing, because I don't do anything consciously. I'm not conscious, of all the things I do. That all the things I say, they just come out of an unprogrammed, of an unconditioned and a non-thinking mind. I am compelled to turn on the camera and to talk, and I've got no idea really what I'm going to be speaking about, and that's why I go off on so many different tangents. And so I'm often asking people, "What do you see? What are you getting? Is there something you want more of? Is there something you want less of?" But it doesn't matter what I say. I can be the biggest tyrant, and I can be tearing people to pieces. But those videos, they won't be any worse received than my most beautiful and loving ones. And so it doesn't matter what this thing is saying. There's a higher level of interpretation what's coming from here, and I can't see it myself, you see. So that's why I ask other people, what do you see? What do you see? And
Yes, what do they see?
sorry?
What do the people see when they see
Yeah, what do
us?
people see? And of course, we all see things differently. But the subscribers never go down. It doesn't matter what video I throw out. It doesn't seem to make any difference how many people view it, or there's no difference in the response or the thumbs up or something like that. I'll get more response if I'm talking more mundane, where people can have a connection to. But you see, I've been speaking very deeply and profoundly about God solidly for a whole year, and I'm like, look, you don't comment, guys, about what I'm saying. Do you actually have an interest? And if you don't have an interest, why are you still here? What is it that's keeping you? Is it some sort of subliminal hypnosis? Is it some sort of spiritual contact that God's told you to listen to me? What is it? What is going
It's
on?
the powers, the spirits. Of course, the spirits drive us to do everything. The people have spirits that guide them. They want them to listen to you, to listen to me, us, because they think that this is good for them, for example. So,
But you would have thought then, if that was the case, there would be 10 million people watching my videos instead of 100.
yes, of course, I would be a superstar.
Yeah, so why is that then? If it's God's will, why is he doing it so minusculely? Why doesn't he blow up any of my videos into going viral if he wants people to see this message?
You're talking about God.
Yeah.
Yes, so he wants us to be successful, but we are in a playfield, and there are so many sources of anything, and we have to fight us through this playfield. Yes, we get assistance, we get guidance, we get help, we get support, but still we have to do it. We have to go the path like anyone else. We're not better. Yes, we have to face this world full of powers acting as they want, as they wish to, and we have what we say is we have to fight it through.
Yeah, you see, if I come from my perspective that we are all shards of God consciousness, then we all have equal right and equal power in manifesting. And so there are 1 billion videos of people's cats out there. There's probably about 500 million videos of people's pet squirrels out there, and so lots of those, they get millions of views for whatever reason that it touches people in a certain way. So if I eliminate God from the equation as being anything outside of consciousness, which we all have an equal share in, then I can take the results very, very easily, because there's nothing mystical, there's nothing spiritual that's actually going on, because spirit is our consciousness. We're all powerful beings, and some of us, if we put more into it, then we'll get more out of it. And so that sounds much more reasonable than, God sitting up on his throne and going, oh, that man's suffering down there, let me just help him a little bit. Oh, well, that man's, he's got, too much already, he doesn't need any help, and all this sort of thing. I struggle with that level of interpretation, because it's much more rational and logical to suggest that what we put in is energy, and the more energy we put in, it stands to reason the more energy we're going to get out.
Yes, but you don't. Well, there's a very important point. It's not just us. So there are powers, there are spirits, and they're also acting. They're acting with us, for us, and they're acting against us. And they're acting for and against other people. This is the playfield. It's not about us, just about us humans. It's about a countless number of spirits that are involved in this game, of course, and they all take part in this.
Yeah.
So if for example, well, imagine I have written like 5 books, okay, and I printed and gave away like 100 books for free. And I talked and I made videos, like more than 100 videos on my channel. And I had hours and hours and hours and hours where I talked to people to motivate them. I visited people to try to get something into moving.
Mm-hmm.
I did my very best. And the result is, although I have like 60 publications, 60, 70, I don't know how many, okay, I have sold maybe like 100 books. Why?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are people, they create shit.
Yeah.
Literally shit. They do not even write it for their own selves. They let AI write some shit.
Yeah.
And they publish it, and they do something, and then they are successful, and the stuff is being sold.
Yeah.
Yes, and I wrote this best quality stuff, and I do everything I can, but I get rejected all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You are really the first person since I started I have a reasonable dialogue with. Never ever I had a single person that I could communicate with as we do now.
Yeah.
Not a single person. And so I tried with so many persons, so many people. I sent my books to people from, here on YouTube. So many people that are working in this esoteric, spiritual, religious scene. Everyone rejects me. Everyone.
Wow.
Out of any kind of reason. People are frightened from me. They have fear. They get aggressive against me. They some people are even envious. Anything you could ever imagine. Why? And it's always the same theme. At first, people are like amazed, interested, sympathy. But then after a few days, maybe weeks, it gets worse, and then they reject me. For the most silly reasons. Just nonsense, okay? Nonsense. They even get aggressive against me. Why? Well, other people, if they would have done what I have done, they would have been successful. But I get rejected all the time. So the powers are working in the background. And our personal power is relevant. The things we are talking about are like secrets. We are talking about secrets.
Yeah.
And this world is dominated by powers that do not want the people to know these secrets. Because if the people start to exercise and practice and evolve and, yes, get awake and stuff, well, then they would not have this amount of control, of course.
Yeah, so up to date, there's been 54 people that have bought my book. And that's because I've been heavily promoting it for almost a month now, and I have a regular subscribership. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have made a single independent sale because there's a vast amount of books out there, and what people say about publishing is that writing a book is the easiest thing. That's that's kindergarten stuff. Selling it,
Yes.
that's where you need a PhD, and you need to put probably 100 times more effort into promoting your book than you do writing it. And so I decided that I'm going to leave that to the cosmos. I didn't write it for the money. I'm not a business person. I've retired a long time ago. um, I wrote that book uh, just to pay something forward and say thank you to the cosmos for all the incredible books I've read throughout the years, and hopefully mine will be appreciated by some. And when I meet somebody that means something to me and a relationship, uh, if they want to know anything about me, at least I'll say, well, here's a book. This tells you kind of like my life story. It's my spiritual development. Wow, how many people? If everybody had that, if everybody had wrote an auto or a biographical account of their lives, it'd be wonderful, wouldn't it? Because every time you meet somebody, you exchange books, and then all of a sudden, within as long as it takes to read the book, you've got a lifetime background, and that'd be amazing. So that's what I've done, and anytime I meet somebody, just pass it on. Anytime anybody thinks like, oh, this guy looks a little bit interesting, I'll have an interview. Oh well, I've got a book, and there's something to talk about. Read the book. There's loads to talk about. And so my idea was that I'll write this book and then I will contact people of like minds. And there is, quite a lot out there who are hungry for this sort of stuff. I haven't done it as yet, even though it's not that much work. All I've got to do is go on to their YouTube page, mail them, and then offer them. I'll send them the book, if they'd like to read it, because it's all the sort of stuff that you talk about on your channel. And if they're anything like me, they'll go, yeah, okay, cool. But there's a limit, because if you've got like, I don't know, 200,000 viewers, and you get 10 books a year sent to you, as on top of all the other stuff that you got to do, running the channel and reading certain things that you've just got to read, because we're always presented with books. People send you books and say, you've got to read this book. You come upon this book, and I've got them piled up. I've got books standing that high that I'm endeavoring to get through, but at the rate I read a book and then get inspired to make, for every like one page I read, I've got 5 videos to come out of it. And it's out of balance. And I'm like, well, look, I need to change that. Instead of making videos, I need to write it, because then at least I've got my books piling up. Which can get sent out to anybody as and when, and the potential is for the whole world to see them rather than just making videos. But nobody wants to read these days, really, and so videos is the way forward, probably. And I'll get like 200 hits on my videos, but it's vastly more than I would sell with books, because I get 30,000 views a month currently on my channel. 30,000. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of views. And,
Yes.
I've only got like just 1,000 subscribers. So can you imagine how much traffic people have got if they've got 100,000 subscribers? Millions of views. That's power. And so that's what we are lacking. We need that variety of power. Because when we look at how anything works in this dimension, if we look at politics and things like that, or business, well, it's money, honey. all the way to the bank. And if you
Yes.
don't have the money, then you ain't got no honey. And so it really is the amount of money that's going to be stacked behind the promotion and the launch of something. Now, I probably like you, I don't have any money to put into the promotion. And so therefore, it's got to do it itself. It ain't doing itself because this thing doesn't work like that. The only chance we've got
Yes.
of that of our books propelling themselves is by some stroke of genius. Someone a little bit famous gets hold of one of our books and then gets photoed. There's one story of one book. It's called The Alchemist. I don't know whether you've ever read that or heard about it.
I know this book, yes.
Yeah, this dude, he wrote this book, and it's a great story, no big deal. And it never sold any copies until one day it was photographed in the hand of Bill Clinton, and then all of a sudden it sold 100 million overnight. The president's reading this book, and it's a little read. It's like 90 pages or something. The stroke of genius, and I don't even know whether the guy was still alive at the time. When this happened, but. Yeah, this is how it is. And so, it's a long haul. But, as to what I'm doing, I'm self-alchemizing. That's what I'm doing. I'm not about raising the dead. I'm not about changing the world. I personally don't have any intention to do any of that stuff. It's spirit that's moving through me. What I want really is self-actualization. I love that. I've always been about self-actualization, traveling the world and learning all different sorts of things. And that's the journey I'm on. And it seems that spirit has joined up with me and made me an offer. And it's kind of like, okay, I can give you all these experiences that you want in the cosmos. I'll protect you along the way, but you got to work with me. I'm like, okay, send me the information.
Yes. Here I am. I have information.
Yeah.
How to achieve it.
Sorry?
I provide information.
Yeah.
I'm here to provide this information, how to achieve, to get higher and higher. And whatever you're dreaming of, whatever your intention is, your wish, your desire, you can reach anything with the tools I'm providing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
just read my books.
Yeah. Well, I will. I'll get round to
I can send you, if you want, I can send you a copy. I have a print in English, a single print here. I could send it for free if you want.
Paperback, because I can't read anything online.
Yes, a paperback.
Yeah.
I printed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Brilliant.
Wait a second. Just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Here. This is it. See it?
Wow. Yeah. Cool.
This is one, and this is the final revelation.
Right.
Yes, I can send you for free if you want.
Awesome. Yeah. Yep. Thank you very much. I'll give you my address when we finish up here.
I would be grateful and happy if you would read it.
Yeah.
And I assume it will be very easy for you to read it.
Mm-hmm.
More easy than to read yours. Yours is philosophy and this. I really need time to do this a lot. To get into this, I will have to make notes and do a research because I'm not so much into many things. But I will do it. I will.
Yeah. The thing is with my book, people need an enormous amount of background knowledge and experience if they are going to be really with me on the journey. How much have you read of it so far?
5 to 10 pages.
Right. Okay. So, what I do is in the preamble, in the first 30 pages of the introduction to the book, I say, listen, we're going on a journey. This journey is through the cosmos, and we're going to be meeting all different sorts of spiritual entities. We're going to be compromised, we're going to be dragged to hell, and then we're going to be lifted up to heaven. Are you ready for that? Do you want to come on that sort of a journey? Okay, let's go. But before we do that, there's things you need to know. We're going to be dealing with philosophy, psychology, ontology. We're going to be dealing with metaphysics. We're going to be dealing with the supernatural. We're going to be dealing with the paranormal. We're going to be dealing with all this stuff. So here are these words, and this is what these words mean. Right. And then I'll say, look, this is how I started on it. And I tell them about my life and how I imploded emotionally and egoically. And then I say, I went on the dark night of the soul. Now, you'll need to read this about the dark night of the soul before you're going to be able to follow me on this journey. And this is kind of like, I don't know, 10 pages about the dark night of the soul to get a background. Otherwise, you ain't got a clue. If people haven't heard about these things, then every single thing is completely new to them, and it's out there, and they're probably not going to have the patience, or they're just going to be skirting over it because they're looking for something else. And that's the thing. And then when I speak about encounters with angels and Jesus and God and devils and astral beings and sex in the astral, it really is. This is why I'm saying the things I say, I don't say from this thing. And I listen to what I'm saying, and I'm like, people are going to be thinking that, maybe you are such an egotist and, you're just promoting your book and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, it's beyond me. It's just beyond me. I don't have any say in it, and I don't have any blushes about what I say. But what I say, that book I wrote is a world-class spiritual Bible, and one day it will be recognized as being such when people have got the consciousness to comprehend it. And so this is why, people like you are important, because if you don't get it, what hope have I got of anyone getting it? And it's like your stuff. If I don't get your stuff, it's kind of like we're just from different constellations, aren't we? Obviously.
No. I'm very familiar with everything you say.
Right.
Just okay. There are okay concerning philosophy. It's I'm familiar. Okay, but it's not. Well, I'm not so passionate.
Yeah, I have a
But
philosophical.
my brain is prepared. It's familiar to me. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not something strange or new at all.
You see,
Nothing.
I speak in illustrations and I speak in stories. I'm a great storyteller. There's no doubt about that. And I've read that book from cover to cover in about 5 days. And it was a very invigorating read. It was very fluid. It's very, well written and easy to follow to a degree. And if there's something that I'm incorporating, I'll tell the reader, I will say, look, I'm going to be introducing something to you in the next chapter. And so I'm going to say a word here. Just, okay, you don't need to know what that word means, like egregore, because I'm speaking about egregore. So I need to say that now, but I'm going to explain that in very detail, in the next chapter. And then in the next chapter, I have to tell them what the best of the best have said about egregores. I tell them what the best of the best. I've got stuff from Descartes. I've got stuff from Plato. I've got stuff from Lao Tzu. I've got stuff from St. John of the Cross. I've got stuff from Rupert Sheldrake. I've got stuff from Carl Jung, from Sigmund Freud, from Plato. I've got all this stuff there, and if people don't have any idea or background to that, then they're not going to find it anything like as nurturing. And this is why 53 copies so far, nobody's come forward to talk about it. One person came forward, they'd read 150 pages, and they never had anything to say about it.
Do you think anyone had to talk with me, wanted to talk with me about my books? No one, not a single person. One woman, she's a Catholic, she read, I guess, all my books, and she said not a single word about the content. Not a single word.
Wow.
But I can tell you one thing. I will read this book from the first to the last page, and I will talk with you about it for sure, about many things. maybe we can. Probably we will be able to talk like hundreds of hours about
Well,
every
yeah, because
single
I'll do this with your book and you do it with mine, and we can be each other's mentors on this. And, it's something that we both need. And so, like you say, this link up that we've done now is through the heavens because they knew it had to happen.
It will be great fun for me to do this with you, to talk
Yeah,
with you about all of it.
yeah.
It will be very cool.
And so, okay, then, well, we'll wrap this one up in 5-ish sort of minutes, and that takes us up to 2 hours and 25 minutes. Then, yeah, how would you like to finish off? Well, I mean, let's finish off how we came in. It's kind of like, what your notion of God was. The thing is, what's immensely difficult about this stuff, it's very, very difficult to stay on topic, to stay online. And if we ever did try this, it would be the hardest thing ever because we'd keep having to bring the person back. But they deviate here to make a point and then come back. Okay, let's stay on focus. What is God, in your opinion? This is what I'd really love to do with people. So maybe the next time we speak, what is God? I'll tell you all the reasons why I think God is, X, Y, and Z. And you see if it's feasible. Then you tell me yours, and I'll see if it's feasible. We've done a little bit of that in this conversation.
Yes.
But what we see is that our minds work differently. Mine is a very philosophical mind and spiritual mind. The last mind I have is a religious mind. I really have an abhorrence to dogma and fantasy. I have never read a fiction book in my life except the Bible.
Oh wow! At least that.
But I did have the staying power to read it in its entirety twice. So, and I have
Really?
read lots and lots of it.
Did you
Different books.
really read the Bible, all the pages?
Yeah, every single page from beginning
Did
to end
you?
twice.
Twice even?
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
nobody does that. Nobody does that.
I
Even the
tried,
most.
I tried, but it was too much for me.
Yeah, I did it in 42 days. The last time I did it, and then after that, I read all the New Testament, and then went back and the prominent Old Testament books, which were apparent. So I've probably read the Bible in itself in its entirety. Let's say 10 times over the years. Listened to hundreds and hundreds of scholars and different opinions on this stuff. So I do know it quite well.
Wow. Then
It,
you must know a lot more than me.
I don't
But
know. It will become apparent, I suppose. But because of this, and because of my psychological background, I can see that the Bible is written as the world's first psychology book. That's what it cries out to me. It's just psychology for people 2,000 years ago who were working in the fields. It's basic cognitive behavioral therapy. And the 10 commandments, for goodness sake. It's like the 12 rules of fucking life in Alcoholics Anonymous. What you can do and what you can't do. It's elementary. But then you see, being philosophically inclined, I can look at it from that realm. Then being spiritually inclined, I look at it from that realm. I see the Bible in so many dimensions. And this is where people can't meet me. They simply can't meet me. And whenever I speak to Christians, well, I'm just speaking to indoctrinated fools who know nothing about their own psychology. They know nothing about propaganda. They know nothing about hypnosis. They know nothing about any of the deception. They just don't know what's actually happened to them. And so you can't reach them. A philosopher, if you speak to a philosopher about the Bible, then you're going to get a whole different conversation. And we see this in plain day when we are presented with like a spiritualist or a philosopher or scientist, and you got a Christian or a Muslim on the other side. Well, on the philosopher or the psychoanalyst side or whatever, you've got great fluid conversation. On the other side, you've got dogmatic closeness. You've got nothing outside of verbatim. They don't have anything, absolutely nothing. And it's just shocking to see. But you can't deal with these people. Nobody's ever managed to deal with them. It's just not possible because of their mindset. It's like people that are on the MK Ultra. You know, you ain't getting to them. They're gone. And so, you know, my channel is primarily a philosophical channel. Then it's a psychological channel. Then it's a spiritual channel. And then it's a metaphysical channel. And then it's a political channel. And right at the end, it's a religious channel. Because I have no adherence at all to religion.
Yes.
You know, I don't see how it's possible, because if you're spiritual, then you work from spirit. You don't work from the cognition of your egoic mind. You don't work from programs or dogma. You work from intuition. So that's spirit. Yeah, great. I can read the Bible from that perspective, and I have done, and I found certain truths. There is no truth whatsoever when you read it from the dogmatic, egoic facet, because you can see that that is been entirely designed to close people's minds down. There is no intention whatsoever for those people to write that book to have people connecting with God.
For me, it's a challenge. And I see through these barriers to the human beings from the heart. I don't see Christians or religious people as dogmatics. They are dogmatics, of course. Many of them are. Not everyone, by far. But there are many dogmatics, yes. But I always focus on their humanity. I mean, they are human beings. They have a heart, and this is where I want to be. Yes, I feel like I want to connect, and I see that these people, they have experiences. They do have experiences. Many Christians, for example, have severe attacks from demonic spirits. This is a very important topic in Christianity. They are talking about spirits attacks all the time. It's a massive topic, for example. And why? I mean, why are these people attacked? This is very interesting. Or if you look at exorcism, it's also very interesting. The opinions of Christians about these things, they are related to spiritual experiences. They do have experiences, although they do not practice. They do have spiritual experiences. They have dreams, they have visions, or they speak in tongues, and you have these things like driving out demons. They have prophecy and all that stuff. I mean, they are into spirituality, but they don't understand it. So there are many Christians, if you use the word spirituality, you are condemned. Yes, or if you use the word meditation, you might be condemned.
Yeah.
But what is it? I mean, praying is a type of meditation.
Yeah.
Very clearly. And people, for example, praying the rosary,
yeah,
it's like reciting a mantra.
Yeah. And,
It's
and,
exactly
and
the
you know,
same thing.
meditation is just focus. That's what meditation means. It means focusing on something. And if they are reciting their Bible and looking into it, they are meditating on the Bible. Look, Marcus Aurelius's meditations, it's just his thoughts, which he was contemplating deeply and wrote stuff down.
Okay, this part I would more call I would say it's more philosophy.
Well, you see,
So
again, if you look up these words, then you'll see that these words mean a whole myriad of things. Look at meditation when we finish this, and you'll see that it says, well, meditation in philosophy, meditation in psychology, meditation in spirituality, meditation, in just regular parlance. They've all got different words. They've all got different meanings. All words are shapeshifters.
but okay, but this is very wide definition of the meaning of word meditation.
Well, originally, the word just meant to concentrate, meant to meditate.
Okay, okay.
And that's what we
So
do when we actually close our minds. Initially we concentrate on a mantra, don't we? We concentrate on not allowing thoughts in. So we concentrate in on something. When we get very versed in meditation, we don't concentrate. We can just eliminate the words and then we just sit and dwell in the nothingness. That's what I do all the time. I don't. I've never got on with mantras. I never really needed to use them. The day I started to meditate, I was just a natural at it. I just closed it down and it felt great. And it was exciting because I was exploring. Because you explore in there. And then all of a sudden, poof, 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 all different thoughts come. And it's like, wow, where did that come from? Oh my God, I've got to talk about that. And then, the payoff is it's so beautiful. It's so nurturing. It's so nourishing to have that relationship with yourself, with the cosmos. I mean, the Christian dogmatic, stance is anything outside of their dogma is evil. And that's what they've been indoctrinated with. And that's why you can't say meditation. You can't say spirit. You can't say philosophy. You can't say psychology. No, 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 no. They're not looking at none of that. They're just reading and believing every single word that says, but they don't even know what context to read it in. That's why those idiots have to go to a pastor for him to interpret it to them, because they can't do it on their own.
well, it's human psyche. Yes,
Yeah.
it's just human. People they are vulnerable. They have weaknesses. They have fear. Yes, mainly, I guess, Christians isolate themselves out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you said, why do you have fear? If you really have something, no one can take it away from you.
Yeah.
But that's the point. They don't really have it.
They don't have it.
No, because they know, they feel it. I mean, if you talk to a Christian if you have a talk that is too good, you go too deep, then many get insecurities.
Yes.
Yes, and then they feel like drowning in the flood. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
no, 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 stop, stop, stop! I go.
Yeah.
It's like, this is too much because I fear to get aside, and these people are, of course, dependent. I mean, the sects are dependent because they are addicted to their community.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have relationships. Imagine the Jehovah's Witnesses. For them, it's a huge deal to get out of this community, possibly because they are so narrowly related to the people.
Mm.
So if they go aside, then they have the most horrible consequences
Yeah.
for their private life.
And
They
that's
lose
the cult.
their
There's nobody will
partner.
let them leave. And
Yeah.
you see, in my book, you will come upon a section where I'm dissecting belief and faith. And I will tell you how I investigated both of those words, how I asked a score of Christians and 3 pastors to explain to me the difference between belief and faith and what they both meant. And I met an impasse every single time. I discovered the length and breadth of those concepts myself through my psychology, my psychoanalysis, and my philosophy, compiled with my spirituality. I got to the bottom of what they are, and I tell people about it in the book. And it's a shocking revelation to Christians that they wouldn't want to ever hear it, because what it flaunts in their face is that their whole dream is premised on fiction, and the fiction is faith. And faith just means believe, 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 blind, blind, blind. And I say to all Christians, well, I'm not a Christian. I don't need faith. You know why? Because I know God. I actually know God with every cell in my body. I've met him on so many fronts. And so that's why people such as me are so open to everything. We're open to inquiry and questioning. And, you can discount this, I say, and discount that, and present me with this and present me with that. I'm secure. I'm completely secure because I'm not defending anything. I'm not protecting anything. I'm completely open being God because I'm all things. And so I'm not protecting my insecurity of a box full of lies. And that's what Christians are doing. And that's why I'm always jousting with them. And that's why I'm always having a go at them. Because they are always the ones who are first to have a go at anybody else who is a thinking person. They're the ones that want to bring everybody down, the thinking man. They're the ones that are responsible for bringing the whole world down if they could into their dogma and their nonsense, non-freedom of thinking. If it was left to Christians, would we have anything in this world? We wouldn't even have a fucking tin opener because they wouldn't have applied themselves to how that works because it'd probably be evil. No practical application of a mind at all. But you see, where you're coming from is a useful thing and it's a valuable thing because you're coming from it from a heartfelt, sympathetic, where I don't have any sympathy at all. None. I don't have none. I see the world very matter of fact, and I believe that everybody is destined for their destiny, earn their destiny, or whatever. And all I've done in my life, I've looked around and I've seen people pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, or I've seen people wallow in their own pity and sympathy. You do whatever you want to do. But this world is about earning your merit. It's a meritorious environment. And I don't think there'd be anybody who's intelligent who would doubt that. Everything is premised on merit. We're not gifted any particular thing.
Well, we have to make efforts. We have to fight. We have to go the path. Everyone has to walk the path. But we get support. We get support that we didn't really earn sometimes. This is also the point. One important point. If we wouldn't get free support, then we would be completely lost here. This is my personal conviction based on my experience.
Right, if you get charity, you mean? People
yes, I get
helping
charity.
you. Yeah, okay, yeah. And so maybe then, they can pull themselves out of the mire a little bit like that. Maybe that's useful. Yes.
I mean, it's also an experience. It's something that God wanted, or even still wants me to learn. That helping others is like helping your own self, because we are connected and we are related to each other. Even if we don't know it, we are connected and we are related. And in the end, it's really like that. When I help others, it's like helping myself or even helping God.
Yeah.
And I see it in the detail. It's like I come to Christians and I offer them my sympathy and my friendship, my time. Yes, I come to them from my heart. And then when I'm rejected, I feel this is a mistake. You shouldn't reject me because it's not about me, because you reject God. Because
maybe you're aiming at the wrong market. Maybe you should be aiming at the spiritual market.
well, I can't help it. I feel, but I had to. I was trained. So in 2021, in that year, I was in a Christian discussion forum, and I wrote about 4,000 comments, 4,000 comments. I stood there maybe like 6 to 8 to 10 hours daily.
Wow.
And this was guided because I was supposed to learn to deal with Christians, to learn
Yeah.
how they think,
Interesting.
to learn the arguments,
Yeah.
the Bible quotes that really matter, all these disputes and stuff. I had to learn this because
Yeah.
God he wanted me to learn this because he wants me to go to Christians and talk with them.
Aha.
So this is, for me, it's like my fate. Yes,
Yeah.
but
I get that because today I was contemplating on renaming my book instead of Closer to God because that was intuitively bestowed upon me. But instead of being closer to God, I was thinking, well, why don't I put Journey to the Self? Because that's what my book is really about. Because if the self is God, then it's a journey to the self. It's finding what we are here in this dimension. That would be a much more befitting, and I think it would hit the market, which would deeply appreciate. Because closer to God, I'm attracting Christians now onto my channel, and I'm having to get rid of them and insult them and block them and all this sort of thing because they're just
okay,
lay led.
because you use the word God.
Sorry.
Because you are using the word
Yeah,
God.
that's right. It's the wrong word because, if my whole channel is about philosophy, psychology, and spirituality, the last thing I should have titled the book would be God, because the last thing on my agenda is religion. And I'm like, look, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. So it must be for a reason. There must be something I need to learn from this. There must be a journey. Maybe it's to soften me up with certain perspectives and outlooks, and to become a little bit more like you, because I'm a little bit tough, to be fair. Um, we look at this and we go, well, this is my journey. Maybe it's my journey. Maybe I'll just accept it. I don't know whether I will change the name and see how that works. But what I don't want to do, I just don't want to keep attracting people that I have a great aversion to, let's say. Stupid, ignorant, dogmatic people are great aversion to philosophers.
So okay, one more thing maybe. Okay, for to end it, just there are the dogmatic believers, yes, on one hand, but there is a counterpart on the side of spirituality, esoterics people. Yes, and this is what I would call maybe the I am part. These are people that say that everything is fine. Yes, everything is perfect. They say, I am God and I have reached the goal and there is nothing to do at all. And so they do nothing at all. They do not change. They do not practice. They reject any kind of serious practice. They reject
So
everything.
these are the people that have come to Christianity through Paul.
Through what? To
Through
Paul.
Paul.
Okay. Yes. Fine. For example, yes, evangelicals, they do not really want to do anything.
No, they think that if they just believe, and they don't have to believe, too much, they can
Yes,
just pretend to believe, then they're going to be saved, and they can continue drinking,
yes,
smoking,
yes.
whoring, gambling, and all these things, and it doesn't matter because they're going to
I
go.
know this. I know this so very well because I'm dealing with such people all the time.
Right.
And it's not really possible to change anything. Not
No.
the smartest thoughts, arguments,
Yeah.
quotes do not change anything.
Yeah.
But well, whatever. So I see these people that just always repeat the same stuff.
Mhm.
Like I am and I have reached the goal, and you don't have to do anything. You have reached the goal yet, of course, and you are God. I mean, they say the same, but there is nothing. They have nothing. They do not have any experiences. They do not make practice. Nothing. There is nothing inside of them.
Yeah.
They're empty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same, like the dogmatic people. They do not have the essence.
Yeah.
Yes, and this is what I'm. So in my first book, I made 10 boards, illustrations with essential core messages, and one of them is called the highest self. Yes, in the beginning I called it the higher self, and then I changed it to avoid misunderstandings. I changed it to the highest self. But the point is, it doesn't help. Okay, it doesn't help, and I think you do not want to attract people that believe that they have reached anything yet, and they just have to recognize that everything is perfectly fine. Yes, and that all their problems are just imaginations. I mean, we know that people have serious problems. They do not imagine these problems. Of course, often people destroy themselves by negative thoughts and stuff. We know that, but there are serious issues. You cannot just remove them by thoughts. For example, so this is the other side, and I think the most important thing are people with a heart. The heart, because you can discuss with people all the time. If there is no heart, it doesn't help. But if there is a heart, then you can reach them. Then they open up. It's like if you have a girlfriend, yes, and you love each other, then many things are possible that normally wouldn't be possible. Yes, there's some open mind and accepting things you normally wouldn't accept. You start to listen. It's from the heart. It's
Yeah.
sympathy.
So you say then people with a heart, then they open themselves up to reasoning.
They listen. They are interested in you, and they listen, and then they think, and then they maybe change.
Well, that's reasoning, isn't it? That's reasoning.
The reason, yes, of course, you need reason. I mean, what is thinking without reason?
Yeah, but that's it. Think what is thinking without reason. But when you're talking about the other people, the dogmaticist, they don't think. They just repeat. They have been downloaded a little bit. That's all they need. That they're loved by Jesus, and Jesus said everything's okay, and so they can just go on, continue. That's all they've needed. And if you try to speak to them, you're going to come up against a wall because they ain't letting you in to all of their sins. And so that's why they've took that few pages out of the Romans, and it says that if you believe in me, then I'll enter into you, and you will enter into me, and we're going to live happily ever after. They go, fine, close the book. That's all they need to read. They don't need to read any more than a couple of pages in Romans. So by the time they've done that, then they can walk away. And if you try to question them on their actions, they ain't going there. They don't want to reason with you. They can't.
I cannot say anything else. I had no success up to now.
Okay, well, 2 hours and 51 minutes. That's a
Yes.
good one. So we'll call it a day on this one. Another great conversation, Edwards. Been great.
Thank you.
I appreciate you sending me that book. I'll send you my address in an email. I'll get this uploaded, and whenever we do a video, have your books there so you can flaunt them around. I'll put the links down again to the books, and then you start talking about your books, because obviously I want to know what's inside them, and so you talk about them, and I'll question you about things. So like I say, we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about for quite a while, it seems.
Oh yes, we do.
Yeah.
Just one more thing would be, I published the complete edition in English just today on Amazon as ebook.
Right.
For the very first time.
Wow.
So I will send you the link, and if you would add it, maybe on top, this would be very, very cool. I would be very grateful.
At the top of all the other ones.
Yes. So it's the most easy thing. It will be instantly available, and everything in just one volume.
Yep.
Everything I ever wrote.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. All right then. So, well, get this video banged up and see if anybody wants to burn us at the stake.
Yes, let's hope so. To all the listeners, if anyone would have come this far, yes, thank you very much for listening. I am so grateful. Thank you. Please write comments, write, talk, connect. Please.
Yeah, indeed. And if you have made it to the end, wow, congratulate yourselves and put a comment down. Say, yeah, I made it to the end. Because when I look on analytics, it says what's the average viewing time, and it's something like 13%. And it's kind of like, how many people are actually getting to the end of any of my videos then? If the average is 13%, it must be 1 in 100 that actually watches to the end. You know, it's an astronomically small amount. Sorry?
I do. I watch them to the end.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people tell me that, but then the analytics, tell a different story. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't know about it. Can't work anything out. It's all a mystery to me. But okay, then, yeah, brilliant. So you enjoy the rest of your night, Edwards, and we'll be in touch, yeah?
Yes. Have a great night.
Will do. Thank you. See you soon.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.